Hey, good morning. Thank you so much for joining this session. Let me share my screen real quick. I will share my screen. Okay, I think the screen is shared. So let's quickly spend 2 minutes time to discuss a couple of things here. So the first thing is this is the meetup group, .NET Learners House, where I'll publish all the events which I'll be conducting. I'm the organizer of this meetup group. Please subscribe to this, and .NET Learners House is the YouTube channel where I publish all the videos here. And specifically, you can see some of these things are being published as part of the playlist. Azure OpenAI and this microservice. This is 120 episodes. Right now we did 4. And there are this one, Azure OpenAI, there's a 4 videos. This is the 5th one. And this is my GitHub link. Let me share it for the benefit. If someone wants to give it a glance, they can. And here is where we are going to do whatever we are going to do. Its documentation is here, and the source code is here under Vishwanath Swami Tech Skills Academy, Learn Azure OpenAI. I'll just show you, but let me drop this link also so that it will be easy. This is the link, and whatever you're going to do is this one. Now coming back to the events, if we see these events are being conducted from Microsoft community, Microsoft tech community. This is the learning group where we there are a lot of people in this group who will be sharing their knowledge. So I'm one of the Learn member in this Microsoft Learn group. So each of these Learn experts have been given a room. So my room's name is Swami the Learner. You can find it. Microsoft Learn experts. You can go and search Microsoft Learn experts. There are a couple of links here. So if you click on this, meet the Microsoft Learn experts. Here in this, you will find all the names, and somewhere here you will find my name also. Okay, so this is all the events are being done from the Microsoft Learn community, MSFT. So you can join my Learn room. There will be a link. Okay, so that's a 3 minutes quick introduction. So let's go ahead and start what is that we are going to do today. So we are going to build not exactly the ChatGPT cloud, but similar to ChatGPT. That means we are not directly interacting with the Chat GPT through the Azure portal. We're not interacting with Azure OpenAI through the Azure portal or any interface. We will create the interface. Okay, so that is the goal of today. So let me quickly walk you through a couple of slides and then we will hit the road. So the first thing is, as you see, my room's name is also Swami the Learner. So I'm always lifetime learner. So I'll be learning something or other things which I'm sharing. So apologize if I do any mistake. And the second important point is please fasten your seatbelt. There are a lot of things we will be doing purely hands-on. This is the interface which we will be building, where we will be posting our query here and click on generate response. That goes and speaks to the Azure OpenAI and does the completion, and we will track it. So we'll see what is that we are going to do. We'll spend 5 minutes time to quickly walk. So we'll see how to create the virtual environment. There are a couple of tips and tricks I'll be giving in here. And the next thing is we'll install all the required packages here. So through pip install, and then we'll create a environment variable where we have to store these values, and we need to create a system environment variable. Suppose what happens is in the environment variables, if I keep this Open API key, so that might someone might see that. So if I'm having it here in my environment variables, someone might see. So that's the reason we will keep this in the system environment variable under user, and then we'll create an gitignore file where we will add this .env as well as .venv, this folder, the virtual environment which we are creating. So if you see this, the Python documentation also suggests to use right in this Python official documentation also they suggest. I mean, it's not hard and fast rule that you need to use this name, but they suggest that I'm sorry, either to use venv or .venv. So that's what suggested names, but you can use any name which works good for you. So then we will start creating the first endpoint through the Flask API. And then what we will do is we'll run the Flask API and test our first endpoint. Then how do we serve the HTML and other static assets? So we will be going through that static assets, serving the static assets. So that's what we will be seeing in this section, where we'll see how the static assets, and here again there will be a lot of tips and tricks on using some of the packages using CDN and styling. Few other things we'll look at it, but those are very important. I mean, every piece I feel is important. Then we'll create a endpoint which will interact with Azure OpenAI. So we already did this piece where the completion model piece, we already did that. So now what is that we are going to do is we will write an endpoint, and that endpoint is internally calling this. So that means the functionality is available in a centralized location. That means if I host this Python Flask API somewhere in a cloud provider, Azure, AWS, Google, or any other cloud provider, or on-premise, and expose the endpoint, so rest of the team members can use this. That's one of the advantages. We'll see that in a minute. Okay, so that's about the quick big picture of what is that we are going to do, and the entire source code is available here under this learn Azure OpenAI, and I'll put it here when I'm posting this video after some time. In an hour or two, I'll post it here under this playlist, or it will be available under the videos also here. Okay, so that being said, without further delay, let's start. This is a big picture, we have seen it. So the first thing is we need to create a virtual environment. So before creating virtual environment, you can execute this py0p. If you execute this, it will show the list of Python installation, different versions. So right now I have only one version, 3.11. So if I would have installed multiple versions with this command, it will display all the different versions. And the next thing is I need to execute this step, pip install virtual env. So it is it has installed already. I did that. So it installed, says that the requirement is already satisfied. So the next thing is what I'm doing is I'm just creating a folder. I need to create a folder first thing. So I will create with this name so that I'm keeping it as backup. It's already mkdir and cd Flask. Right now I'm inside this folder. There is nothing in here. So I will also open this inside the VS Code. So let me close this for the time being. So that we'll get some extra space. So as of now, if you see this, this is the folder where I'm in. So the next thing what we will do is we'll come in, we'll execute this command. At the folder where we want to create the virtual environment. So by creating this, what it will do is it will go and create the virtual environment. You can come back to this VS Code and you see it is creating the include lib and scripts, and slowly it is installing. It will take a minute or two, and then we'll see this couple of things it has created. Now let's come back. It has given us control. If you see, the next thing what we will do is to activate the virtual environment. We'll come back here. You see this coming and specifying activate. So that means it will show our virtual environment name within the parentheses over here. So what is this activate? If you come to the scripts, there are three things here. This is an activate. This is shell script. If someone is in bash, if you're on Windows, you can use the bat and activate PowerShell also. There are different things. And to deactivate and come out of this virtual environment is we can use this deactivate. So by doing this virtual environment is it is creating a safe space for us to go ahead and work on our project. Suppose you're working on different projects and each project has got libraries which are of different versions. So this will help us to specifically go and use the versions whatever we want. Even when we are creating the virtual environment, we can use the specific version number. When we did this pi EY 0p, at this point of time, we have only one instance or one version of the Python. So suppose if I have different versions of the Python and I want to work on one project which is with Python 3.7 and one with Python 3.9 and one with Python 3.11. So while creating the virtual environment itself, we can specify what is the Python version with which we want to create the virtual environment. That's one thing. After doing that, I will just close this because we will not touch anything inside this. So the next thing what I'll be doing is just we will be going and checking this pip freeze. We'll execute this command. So see that what is that which is available here, and we can go and pip and do pip list. When we do the pip list, it shows that what is that which is installed. Pip freeze is when we want to collect these requirements and put it in the requirements.txt. We'll do that one also. So it is specifying that I have a lesser version of the pip install. So I'm bumping it up. So at this point of time, I have pip and setup tools when I did the pip list. We'll do pip freeze in a minute. And the last command is to deactivate. So deactivate is directly because we are already inside the environment, virtual environment. If you specify this, that will make us come out of the virtual environment. So again, to activate, we can specify this command. Now that as executed, again, we are back into the virtual environment. So this is the detailed steps we have seen on how to create the virtual environment. Now we need to install the required packages. What are the required packages? We are installing Flask, we are installing Azure OpenAI, and we are installing the python.env. So these packages are getting installed from PyPy. So this PyPy is a package place where we get all these packages like npm registry or NuGet packages. These are specifically for Python. So you can see that Azure OpenAI, there are a lot of things. And other thing which we'll be installing is Flask. Installing this Flask. Okay, a simple framework to building web application. Again, I don't want to derail this, but you can see this Django, Python, Flask, Django versus Fast API. Now, if you go and do this, so what it will happen is it will go and give us a pretty good description, like what is that which is being supported in each of the frameworks. We can go and do a detailed reading on this, when you can use Flask, when you can use Python, or without telling that, it is better to tell that what features are available in that particular framework. Now, again, we have to do a tech feasibility before doing the choice. Like you can see this packages and community who is supporting, how that is getting backed up, and what is the performance, flexibility, and the level of expertise you need it. A lot of things will come into picture. Just by seeing a table, we can't make the decision, but we need to do a proper feasibility study before choosing that. So let me come back to this one. So we are going to install .env is to read from the env file. So let me start with this. I can add in 3 different lines, or I can add it here itself. .env. So I have executed this command. So that itself, I executed this command. That itself will go and install all these required packages. You can see that it is going and collecting all these things, and it is installing. Like some of the things, if you go and see that when we were searching about the Flask, here, it might come with its own friends and family kind of things it brings in. So if you see that we just installed 3 packages, but when we did pip list, you see a lot of these things are getting installed, and you can see that pip freeze. You can do help over here to see this lot of commands. Packages are listed in case insensitive sorted order. Output installed packages in requirements format. So one of the thing about this requirement.txt is it's a convention, or it goes with this Python. All the packages which are needed will be dropped into the requirements.txt. And if you want to install, we can do the pip install and put it inside this. We can install all these things. Okay, so we will see that in a couple of minutes, but let's focus on building this further. So we installed it, and then we need to create a environment variable. So what I'll do is I'll come back to this one. So where I already created a environment variable, I will just copy that environment variable from there into this one. So that way what will happen is I will have the dot virtual environment on .env. By convention, we need to block the .env. We should not check in this because that will hold the secrets. And also the Azure OpenAI key, I am not putting it in .env. I'm just putting the completion model deployment name, the base URL, and the OpenAPI version. But the OpenAPI key I'm doing a set environment variable. I'm creating a environment level variable and putting it here. So it will not be available in any of my files, maybe the .env or app settings. I don't need to put it anywhere. And this is one of the reason. I'll show you how we will read it. But as of now, let's hold on that. And now we will create a .gitignore file. Let me come back over here and I will go ahead and create a .gitignore. Create a .ignore file and then copy these 2 lines and put it here. So that way what it will happen is when even if you're trying to check in this, it will ignore these 2, this folder and the .env file. So that's the step. Now what we will be doing is we'll be creating our first endpoint. So the first endpoint, just will create a app.py file, a Python file. We'll create this file and we will create the endpoint. You see that I've installed AutoPep. That's one of the extension. Let me show you that. AutoPep 8. This one. AutoPep 8 is from the Python, which gives us the rules of the game, and it helps us in formatting. Okay, I don't know why it didn't able to locate this. When I do this one, see it located properly. And other thing I forgot really is select the Python interpreter. So we need to select from within the virtual environment. So from within the virtual environment, and let me reload the window. And even if you open the terminal, you can see that because we have selected the interpreter, Python interpreter within the virtual environment, you can see that it is loading that extensions. And let me kill this instance and create a new instance of this. You can see the difference. Previously, it was not showing this. Now it is showing. And you can see that the interpreter is being selected from the .env here from this folder. You can see this shows. Okay, I think we are ready. Now, one thing is we are importing the date and time, and also we are importing Flask from this Flask. And we'll create, you can see that within that constructor, you can use the name and also we can have the static URL path. So we will see that little later. And then we are exporting. There are 2 ways to create the endpoint. One is to use app-get and one is through app.route. So app.get is very specifically you're specifying that, hey, this particular method is to get something, a very specific use case kind of thing. App.route is I can create a route and I can add different methods. It's like /API/books. So that route will be used for get as well as get all as well as post. For both, the endpoint will be same, isn't it? /API/books or /API/stores/item. It's same, either to get all or add. So like that, the app.route has got a little bit flexibility where you can specify that this particular endpoint is used for multiple methods, HTTP methods, verbs. So I'm not telling that one is good over other. It depends upon what is that we are building and what is our current use case. But just wanted to give you there is a flexibility. You can do get or route. What is the difference? And this one, we will write it, whether it is being executed as part of the script or when it is getting imported. So once that's done, I can use this one, or I can use this built-in terminal here. I can do click on this. A couple of ways I'll show you. I can click on that icon, so it will execute it, or I can execute this Flask run, or I can say I can execute directly the app. There are three different ways. At least I know that. Maybe there could be many other ways to execute it, but at least I know these three ways. We can use this icon, and I think we can create the debugger file also here. Put this run and debugger, and we can do that. That's the fourth way to do it, but at least we'll be using only Python Flask run. We are not going to use the other methods. I'll use Flask and run. First, we can specify Flask and run, and that will show this. Now, if I come and hit this endpoint, you're seeing that it is coming over here, and it says that nothing is found because we said that the endpoint is /route / API. So I need to go to that one, API. And I say that it says that welcome to Azure Open AI API, and process that I just gave the date, time, and status is success, some kind of content. So this is the first endpoint we are able to expose from the Python Flask. So this is the moment of tears of joy. Hey, we were able to create with 4 to 5 lines of code. We are able to create a API. Now let's come back to the phase 2. We saw 3 different methods. Fourth method we didn't see, but we'll come back to that little later. Now, how can we serve a static content? So what we have to do is we have to create the HTML templates and the static. First, we will see that the static folder is for storing the static assets like style sheets, JavaScript, favicon, and all those. And the templates folder is used to store the HTML templates that Flask uses to render the dynamic content. Both folders are essential for building the web applications. So now we know the differentiation. What is these folders? So templates are the folder which are used for creating the HTML, and static folder is for creating the this static assets. Okay, maybe images or CSS, JS, and other things. So what is that we need to do accommodate this change? So let's see the delta. So here inside the Flask, we were using only Flask. Now we want to import the template renderer also. Okay. Render template by name. So what does it do? It renders the HTML template which was given by this name. So after that, we need to add. There are 2 things. If you come and see the Flask constructor, the first one is import name, and the second one is static URL path. So you have to specify that URL path. So we are specifying that's the second parameter. We'll come and add it to this one. Okay. And the next thing is we'll add one more route, because this is we are going to the root of the API. Now you see this auto pep, it needs 2 lines after the function. So even if I don't give those lines and do a Alt Shift F, it automatically adjusts based on the AutoPep rules. It adjusts this one. Now what is happening is now we are going to the root endpoint. And here I'm not giving get because if you mouse over on route, you see that the route itself has got a default default get methods. You see the methods parameter defaults to get. Head and options are automatically added. So I just wanted to show you different flavors. Suppose you want to use both methods get and post, we can specify this. And even if you don't specify, if it is a get, the route automatically defaults. We can see that over here. So that is this one. Now we know that it will not work, but still we will go ahead and see that before we steal some code from the previous one. I'll come back. API will work because that's we are splitting the JSON out of that. Now here, if you see that internal error occurred because it's not able to find. So what we will do is we'll quickly come back here, create a folder called templates and create index.html and exclamation, and we can put it here. And now we come and add hello Flask world. So that's the one we're doing. Now I'll stop it. And again, I'll execute this. OK, it's back. Now, if we do a refresh, you can pretty much see what is that which is available here. So I'll create a duplicate of this. So that way we can see another endpoint also, API, because we'll be exposing third endpoint. So right now we have two endpoints. One is this endpoint, one is API endpoint. Now we need to create the third endpoint. So let me come back over here and stop this. Go back to the documentation. And we saw that we'll come back to this visual UI. First, I want to complete the API, then we can start integrating. So now apart from that, we need request. So this is from Flask. I'll add this request. You can see this. This is a request object. And then we need these things. We'll discuss about those. First one is we are importing the OpenAI and we are importing OS because we want to read the environment variables, and we will import from .env. We are importing the .env underscore values because we want to read the content from env file. So for that reason, we need that. So the next thing what we are doing is we are loading all these values. Let's do it after the app. We are specifying read the .env file into config details, and OpenAI object, you can see that now it is displaying the module information here. And you can see the base API is that API URL, and API version is I'm using the latest 2023 version, API version. And one thing, the key, I'm reading it from the environment variable, because in the documentation, we have seen that I'm storing rest of the values in the .env file, but OpenAPI key specifically I'm storing here, because even I don't know what is the key. I need to go and check that, like get environment variable. That's where it fits, but I'm setting it Now it is globally available to all the applications, not only for this one specific applications. That's one more motivation, whether you want to put it in an env file or expose it as a set environment variables. There are different use cases, but what best works you can decide for your project. So we did that piece. And the second piece is we are creating a method. Technically, it could be in a separate module, but as this is the first proof of concept or mini project we are doing, let's put it here. So what is this method doing? We're calling this method as, let me get response from Azure Open AI. So you can see that all the variables are in snake case. Like after each word, we will have an underscore, like get underscore response underscore from underscore AOAI, Azure Open AI. And it is receiving the user input, whatever we want to give. And that is getting formulated as using the F string. We are injecting the user input and creating the user prompt. And we are using the Azure Open AI, the completion, and we are using the create. So it creates the completion model over here. And then it gets a response of this. You can see what is that it is going to create. You can see this generator, any list, dictionary, none. It creates the response. And from that response, you can see the choices of this one and return the answer. There are multiple things it is doing. So what we can do is we can print what is that which is we can print response here. Okay, we print the response over, so we know what is that which is coming, and we'll print the answer also before returning it. So we will know that what is that it is retrieving and what is the we are giving out of this method. So we'll do both. And after that, let's come and expose the endpoint. So this is where we are writing the endpoint. You see that it automatically gives 2 lines, even though I gave 1. So this is again API.get and get completion response. This is the query parameter. User input is query parameter, and whatever the input we are receiving over there. And you can see that we are invoking this method, passing the user input, what we have received as part of the query string. And this one goes and gets the response into this response object, and we will write the response. I think it should work. Cross the fingers. Let's see that. Come back to this one and let's check the route endpoint. It works. And this was at 9:32. Now it is 9:39. So this is also working. Now the next thing is we'll come back here, /get. If I do /get, it is going and printing this message. That means without that object. So this is user input. I'm telling, tell me a joke. When I give that, tell me a joke, you can see here, it went and it gave the response also. But you can see this is a full object, what we have received. This is a response. Where are we printing that? Here, response. So we are printing the entire response object, whichever is coming from this completion model. And if you scroll down slowly, you will see that response from this method. This is the line 56. We saw line 53. Line 56 is where it is printing this. And AOAI response, that is what from this response object we are going to the we are printing whatever we got it, we are printing here. Okay, so that's about the API. Now we have full API. Now our API works with all the things, like it displays the HTML, it has got the welcome or the API endpoint, and it has got get message endpoint, which goes and talks to the Azure Open API and gets the content. So we have all the methods. Now we need to stitch the UI piece. So we'll go step by step on that one. So what I will do is I will go back to the previous one. I'll open that in another Visual Studio instance, and we'll slowly integrate that. So what I will do is I'll just copy the fav icon, because I'll come back and create a folder static, and I'll drop the fav icon. Let's work on the fav icon first. So how do you get the fav icon is the first thing. And here I'm doing a couple of other things. I just wanted to show you before going any further. First, I'll show these two things. I'll come back over here and just before that, I'll put it. So now again, we'll go back and run. We will come back to the main page and just click on that. You see that the fav icon has changed, and also we are getting the title. And second thing I want to highlight is that the Bootstrap. You can see that. Again, we can have this Bootstrap and get this container. Just these two pieces inside the body. We'll remove that and we'll get this view. That's it. Now we'll again come and I need to stop and start, because some of the assets it has to get it. When I execute this one, you see it has organized, because I'm using all the all these classes which are coming in from the Bootstrap. It's 5.2.3. So it is coming from the CDN. And you can see text center. One more thing is text styles. So this is what it is missing. So what I'll do is I will directly copy this. It is pretty easy. And also there are one more thing which we are doing. I'll show you that. I will drop that styles here. So you see one important thing what is happening is I'm Montserrat font family as well as Poppins. So if you see the way it is displayed here, the font will change, because we are importing that and we are saying that for all the fonts use either Montserrat or sans serif or Poppins or sans serif. And there are few things, the coloring, and it's just a styling part. There's nothing big going on here, just like 30 lines, including we are bringing in the fonts from Google Fonts. So what I'll do is I'll stop this and again rerun. And you can see when I rerun this. Okay, I forgot to import it, this one here. So what I'll do is I'll go and get that particular line where I'm importing the style sheet. Over here, let me import the style sheets. Style sheet is here. I think I need to stop and start the server. So starting it. Okay, come back and refresh. You see that the font itself has changed from what it was previously. Now you can see that the font, the styling itself has changed. Okay, that's pretty good. So another thing, what we will do is we'll copy a couple of other things. These three things we'll copy and we'll discuss, and then we will come back and speak about rest of the things. So if you see, let's come back and check the UI. Check the UI. I check the UI. We have a input and we have generate response button, and we are having the current response where we will display the current response. So if you see that as of now, we didn't hook it up to that. So if I click on that, we will see an error because that method we didn't write it. So what I will do is I will bring in the JavaScript file into the mix. I'll get the JavaScript file and drop it in the static location. And again, it will throw error. We will come and we will fix that in a minute. I'll stop and start it because what is happening is only we are creating partial UI. I mean, it's not the full UI for which the JavaScript has been written. At this point of time, if you see, because the rest of the piece is missing in this one, but I'm telling that what is an apple. And I click on the response. So it again gave because the JavaScript file has to be integrated. So this is the path where we are saying that I go to the static folder and in the sky. We'll come in here and we'll add it. This at the top. Remove the title, which is here. I don't want that because we have the title at the top. And what we will do is we'll spend 1 minute time. So this is the chart history. Chart history, the element will not be available as of now. So let's comment this particular line and this particular line. And wherever we are using the chart history, we'll comment those lines so that our code works without any problem. So let's comment this. So we are going step by step. So now the interaction is we have one text box, one button, and one panel where we'll give the response. What is an apple? You can see that if I go to network tab and click on response. So now what is happening is our user interface, the HTML, is invoking a JavaScript, and that JavaScript is invoking the Python code. You can see that it's invoking the endpoint get with user input. And now that is internally calling the Azure Open AI. And the payload we are sending is user input, what is an apple? So what is that response we got? Answer, an apple is a round fruit with red, whatever it is receiving from the Azure OpenAI. Okay, so there are no errors. And then if I want to ask a second question, tell me a joke. If I click on that, tell me a joke, it is telling me the joke, but now I don't have the context because I can get it from here, but that doesn't help until unless we have the context. What was the first question I asked? What did Azure OpenAI responded? What was my second question? What is that? Still, we are not maintaining the context, but at least the chart history. We are showing the chart history, like what were the queries which we posted and what is that we receive. And the next thing, what we are going to do is we're going to stop this and ask another question. What is generative AI? And then I click on the response and it says that error because the API itself has been stopped. So it throws an error. All is well, everything is working. So what we will do is we'll come back and uncomment these 4 lines where we commented it. And let's do the same exercise, whatever we did it. So this time we will be having at least the chart history. I mean, from current response as well as the chart history. I think I can close this and I'll refresh this. I can say that what is an apple? I think it will. Why it's not showing the other panel? Oh, I commented it in the HTML. So we'll come back here because we kept only the first piece. We didn't steal the second piece. So let's steal the second piece. This is the second panel where it maintains the chart history. So we were here. This is for the chart history. So I will fill this and run it again. If I refresh that, so we are seeing the one is for the current response, one is to show the chart history. So we can come back over here, or else I'll kill this. We don't need the dev tools now. So let's ask the couple of questions. What is an apple? So it shows what is an apple. So the question we have asked and the answer we got it from Azure OpenAI. And now I'm asking, tell me a joke. It will tell us a joke. Okay, what did the fish say when it hit the wall? A dam. Okay, that was a question and answer. Good joke. What is generative AI? Classes. So a generative AI is a type of artificial intelligence that focuses on generation of new content. It is used to create new data, images, music, and videos. Generative AI is used to create new ideas, products, and services. It is also used to generate new insights and solutions to the problem. That's pretty good. And I'll come here and stop the server and ask the same question again. Now the connectivity is broken. Now you can see there was an error, but still the site is functioning. If I try it again, site is functioning. I don't know whether it is going to work or not. What is deep learning? NLP. Let's try that. You can see that natural language processing, and also it is specifying about the deep learning. So now we were able to test the entire thing. So stopping the server, starting the server, and wherever we are unable to speak, we are getting the error messages. And this is a simple clone kind of thing, not exactly the chat GPT, which is definitely has got a context and more powerful capability than what we did it in 50 minutes. But it just at least gives us a brief idea how we can use or interact with artificial intelligence tools to make our applications more powerful. So the idea was very simple. We expose a Flask API endpoint which speaks to the Azure Open AI, and that too very specifically the chart completion models. And the help or the advantage of having that is I can create any kind of clients, maybe the mobile client. It's simple HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. I can have the React or Angular or Vue.js or Blazor server or Razor pages or anything. I can have anything, any kind of client which can talk to this Flask API. Now what is happening is the credentials and all those things of Azure API has been put into the centralized location. If we host this Python Flask API and ask the entire team to use it, that way we don't need to pass on the endpoint, the version number, and all these things to the entire team. If there are 20 members who want to experiment on this chart completion, you don't need to give this to all those 20 people. Or we can create an API and expose it and give this endpoint to others and say that, hey, experiment it. Because all they need is this endpoint, and whatever they want, let it give, and let's see that. I mean, if something else is needed, we can always come back and enhance it. Okay, so that was today's session. Hope you guys have learned something new. So the next session is on 30th October, and our microservice series is 6th November, and 13th November, Azure OpenAI placeholder. I kept it, but we'll come back and I'll update with the details. We'll again come back and create another mini project like this. I mean, no theory kind of thing. Let's do some hands-on. We'll create different tools which helps us to create our applications more powerful by using the AI, ML, and the data and all these things. So from now onwards, rest of 2024, we'll be focusing on only two things. One is microservices and AI, ML, and data. So again, I thanks so much, and see you guys in the next episode. Bye. Have a good rest of the day.